My people make we shout, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun don't come, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun the command of the masses, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun don't come, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun the political, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun don't come, oh yeah yeah. This one not day of in mind, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun don't come, oh yeah yeah. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun don't come, oh yeah yeah. My people make you shout, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun don't come, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun the command of the masses, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun don't come, oh yeah yeah. Mayegun the Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary, Mayegun.
Thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are watching from. Of course, it is Mayegun Live. And at the same time, take your time to read the caption of the broadcast. Read the description as well. Share the broadcast. Like it if you haven't already. Just before we get started.
Mayegun diary, diary political. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Godfatherism, kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun diary.
Tinubu and his 47 thieves. That is what you will brand them. No matter what, no matter whatever mask they are wearing. You always remember this. Tinubu and his 47 thieves. 9 of them, they are the former governors of Nigeria. Also, those who said Tinubu knows how to discover talent. He will discover good, whatever it was, probably you were telling yourselves. Now we can see the technocrats. We can see the professionals. We can see all those who are coming to renew your shege. Please share the broadcast.
Lórí Facebook, and yes, we like you. Lórí YouTube, and yes, we like you. Ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́.
These are the technocrats. Hell Rufaya of Southern Kaduna. Were Wike of Rivers. Lalongi of Plateau. Oletola of Oshun. Matawale of Zamfara. Bagudu of Kebbi. Umahi of Ebonyi. And, of course, the remaining two. Our technocrats That's the one that announced, that's the one that will tell you that, yes, I am here. We are about to start. So good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun Live. Thank you so much for joining me again. And I welcome you to the Temple of Truth. and to my TED Talk. As usual, my sermon. Well, for those who have kind of been in a way or two hoping that maybe Kolu will surprise them or shock them with the caliber of people that he will surround himself with, I don't know where that impression is coming from, other than from deluded mind of so many of these Lagos Abobakus. Leopard, they say, will never share the spot. Tifnumbu, a known career criminal, drug lord, will never surround himself with any other people than these characters. He has always been the way for him all his life. I mean, even when they try to polish themselves as who they are not, progressives, Democrats, and all that nonsense and jargons they call themselves. But when you pay attention very well to those around Tifnumbu, from the time immemorial, they have always been crooks, criminals, but they are very smart. They were always hiding behind whether they are pastors or they are lawyers and other useless profession that they never actually practice. But those are the fronts. When Tifnumbu captured Lagos, and then they turned Lagos into their private property, or private estates, or personal estates, where they are now sharing whoever they want, whatever to go to. It's been, when they captured, Tifnumbu didn't capture Lagos alone. You see, the likes of Dele Alakori was instrumental by ensuring that those hungry brown envelope journalists, opinion molders, those who kind of helped in shaping what a lot of you hold today as opinion about Tifnumbu, majority of them lies, bogus nonsense. He built Lagos. No, he didn't. In fact, if not for the likes of those who set the stage then, the lies, the propaganda, Dele Alakori, it was well rewarded. There was a like of Pastor Ruga, fake Pastor Ruga, Ikene Shatabandu, Oshimbade. It was the Commissioner of Justice or whatever in Lagos State that helped in cementing all laws. You get what I mean? Like bills that turned to laws that finally cemented Tifnumbu's lifetime ownership of Lagos resources, at least. The landed properties of Lagos, how they turned around and became private landed properties of other people. Tifnumbu and his family. That didn't happen overnight. People helped him. Crooks, criminals, and as they were helping him, they were also being rewarded. That was the life of Tifnumbu. It's the life of a deal. You know what? Everybody has a price. That is the life of Tifnumbu. When people were packaging money given to judges to buy judgments, court judgments that turned some of them to governors and the rest of that outside the Lagos State, Tifnumbu was offering judges landed properties in Lagos. I'm talking about properties that some of them later turned into money worth billions of naira. Yes, I said it, and it's actually out there. Judges, policemen, security agents, accountants, this and that, local and foreign that helped him. He is surrounded by criminals. So the idea of having a technocrat coming around to work for Tifnumbu because technocrats built Lagos, Baba, let us tell ourselves the truth. Nigeria is worse. And guess what? Lagos State is considered the worst place to raise a child in 2022 in the world. The worst place to live or raise a child was Lagos State, among other cities in the world. Anyway, whatever that actually was, the Lagos State that he built has no public running water, has no regular electricity supply, has no motorable roads. Security is what? And that is the slum that they packaged, the likes of Alake, the lies and all that. It worked. What about the musicians? The musicians, they also gave money to sing his praises. And almost everywhere you turn to, these were part of the political conditioning that actually worked. That some of you who thought you are smart in 2023, a demented, sick rogue, Tinubu, a kleptomaniac, will suddenly change Nigeria, and you stood your ground. This is not even about those who were peddling the tribal, ethnic, and religious sense, all of that. No, no, no. I'm going to leave all of you out for now. I'm talking about those who were so confident. We know what Tinubu did in Lagos. What did he do in Lagos? Now, finally, he has become the INEC president of Nigeria. Oh, yeah, show yourself. Time to now show Nigeria what you did in Lagos. And the list started popping out. Out of, since 24 years of democracy in Nigeria, the highest nominated ministerial nominees, rather, has always been about 43. Tinubu has appointed 47 people. The first list, the second list is out. And guess those who populated this? They are just your regular political rogues, opportunists, looters. Same, as they will say, same. But there are others who also stood out. 9 state governors. Majority of them, who have looted their states so blindly that even their own EFCC is going after them. But since you are going to be a minister, you will be immune from such a prosecution. 9 state governors. One of them, Bello Matawale, the governor of Zamfara. The guy who told you that Zamfara gold belonged to Zamfara, but Bayelsa oil belonged to Nigeria. The guy who supervised the incursion, the invasion of his own state by Fulani terrorists who chased away farmers because they wanted to dig gold. It became a serious thing that refugees from Zamfara alone, they are there. Now, this guy, at a point, they were practicing what they said was Boko Haram's policy, the policy of repentant Boko Haram or repentant terrorist. This guy opened the vault of his own state, a state that contributes almost zero to Nigeria revenue that they always share every month anyway, contributes zero. This guy dipped his hand in the free allocation he got, and he shared 700 million naira to repentant terrorists. 4 months after that, things got bad, right? And guess what happened? The terrorists overpowered the state, and he came out to say they were deceived, that they thought the ceasefire that they signed with the terrorists and then the compensation they paid them will bring peace to Zamfara. 700 million naira of Zamfara state, poor states, of their resources was given to terrorists to buy more weapons. It didn't take long when this guy, to distract them, they started to display this gold, and it was like this gold bars, and it was like this as Zamfara gold, and it was keeping them in UAE, Dubai. But do you want to know the whole story? All the Zamfara gold that these terrorists gave to this guy that he displayed, most of them came from the farms that the owners of the farms have been killed or chased away in Zamfara, right? Nobody in Zamfara state, maybe not many, will be able to tell you which bank is keeping Zamfara gold in UAE. But guess what? Immediately after their election, he lost. He wanted to go for second term. He lost. All right. Now, the EFCC is going after him. They said that poor state, Zamfara, this guy stole 70 billion naira. I'm going to show you in face. But let me start telling you the story of the Tinubu and his 40 thieves. Those who are coming to renew your shege. Just in case just if you care. Now, let us, you see, the one I'm talking about is the one under El Rufaya, the bottom left. That is Matawale. Now, this guy is wanted for 70 billion naira Zamfara money. But he's a minister now, so would the EFCC still go after him? When this guy left government house, he drove out over 70 cars, vehicles, government vehicles. He told them that the new governor that came in had to send DSS, police, soldiers, everybody to go and recover all those vehicles. And guess what happened, ladies and gentlemen? The court said they should return all of the vehicles to him. They belong to him. And that's exactly what they did. They returned everything back to him. Go to the one that is next to him. That is called Abubakar. His name is Abubakar Bagudu. This guy was Abacha's bagman. This guy alone helped Abacha to siphon over 10 billion US dollars of Nigeria money. So far, so good. This guy has released more than $2 billion of Abacha money. That's, and you know what the deal he made that eventually made him governor is that when APC, Egbekegbe were putting together all of the rogues that are coming to change Nigeria to what Nigeria has become now, right? This Bagudu guy came back to Nigeria. He was arrested in America, okay? He was transiting, and he was arrested for imposition of illicit money and all of that stuff. So the guy now made a deal. It was during Obasanjo time. So he made a deal that he would tell them where all of the money, where they are. But, number one, they will give him immunity from prosecution and investigation. Okay? Number two, they will give him 20% of the money that it will lead them to recover. But for the past 20 years, he's only able to help Nigeria recover probably 2 billion US dollars. And from that 2 billion, he got his own 20% of it, which is about $400 million. He got so much money and immunity that he became governor of Kebbi State under APC, Egbekegbe. And if you remember that time, they did what they call the Lake Rice. The scam they did with Lagos State. Lagos, Kebbi Rice. You remember that time? Lake Rice. Do you still see them today? It's also another rogue that is going to be hibernating under the wing of Tinubu. And guess what they do best? They steal, they loot, never to develop. All right? Never to create. Okay? So the one that is next to that one is Devulumayi. Now, Devulumayi was once promised that he was going to be the next Igbo president after Buhari. So he left PDP to join them. This guy, he sacrificed his own people to prove to them that the Igbos are happy to stay in Nigeria, and anybody who is not is an enemy that they will deal with. That Nigeria shouldn't worry. He did all of that. Same thing with the one that is wearing a kete, that hat, Werewike. Now, that of Werewike is actually a recent crime. His own crime is like constitutional crime. He committed an electoral crime that should actually see him in jail. But no, he's going to be your minister. Okay? But before now, the person that succeeded Werewike in Rivers State, this guy was declared wanted. Instead of declaring Werewike wanted, they declared him wanted. Because why? The guy happened to be the accountant general of Rivers State. He was also the bagman for Wirewike. So before the PDP primary election or what have you, they were investigating Wirewike, and they discovered that, well, 420 billion naira of River State money have disappeared, even though the River State people probably have no idea or clue of if any money is even missing or not. Because they actually have no idea how much money the River State government has under Wirewike. But they do know. So they were investigating the guy. I mean, they were investigating Wirewike, but he had immunity. So if you had immunity, then they can't really do anything. So they went for the next person with no immunity, and that was the Accountant General. 420 billion. Wike needed safety, needed protection after his tenure. And somehow, he got that from Kolu Tifnumbu. So he overdid it. Like you all saw what happened during the election, Abi. He overdid it because his life actually depended on it. Okay? It was only Kolu that gave him the deal that he was ready to kill people for, and he actually killed people for. So the money, gone. And this is also person coming to help you, with your renewed shege. I'm giving you their traits so that you have an idea. Then the one on the left, you know him very well. The El Rufaya of Kaduna. El Rufaya, a jihadist, okay? A religious fanatic, a cunning, deceitful, corrupt, rogue, and criminal. Manipulative, as they will say. But the highest of it is that is vindictive nature when it comes to power. The people of Southern Kaduna, they wrote the senator, please don't confirm this guy. We are so happy to see him gone. Giving him power again is going to be like giving this terrorist another opportunity to deal with those probably he couldn't deal with as governor. He managed to put his own stooge in place of himself. He rigged him in. We saw all that happened as well. Now, El Rufaya was at the Senate, okay, where he was standing for confirmation. I'm going to share that with you. So then let me show you others. Then you have, who is there again? You have Oletola, Tifnumbu's cousin, who lost the election in Oshun. Then you have Lalong, the one from Plateau State. All right. This Lalong as well is also been investigated, right, for fraud and corruption as well. But he happened to be the Tifnumbu's campaign chairman or what have you. So he's safe. Okay. So these are the people who are, and then Badaru, yeah, that's the one with, Badaru is the one on the left there. Now, Badaru from Jigawa, all right? Jigawa is also is considered as one of the poorest of the poorest states in Nigeria right now, okay? So this guy is also considered as one of those being investigated as well, but they will all be hibernating. They are the technocrats coming to fix Nigeria. Those who didn't make it is this, one of them is this guy, Gandola, the Babariga mobile banking CEO. But what we heard is that Gandola has been able to nominate 2 people inside the Tifnumbu's cabinet of ministers because they've penciled him down to be the chairman of APC, Egbekegbe. Now, Gandola has been confirmed as the chairman of APC, Egbekegbe. Are you following these old names and all these guys? Oh? Because the reason why I'm actually, putting them one after the other, mention them one after the other, is to give you the clearer picture of people who are coming to deal with you. Even though they will tell you they are coming to work with Tifnumbu and make Nigeria better. These people don't make anything better. You are about to witness the never seen before sleaze and haste. Sure you get. So that you will now grow up later and begin to say, how did we get here? Please remember that Mayegun kind of told you the characters coming and what they have done and what they will do to you. They never change. Unfortunately, they don't. But those who didn't make it, so if this one becomes their party chairman, you know what that means now? All right. But you see, they said that for Food Kayode, for some reason, initially they were waiting for the provisional list. After the first 28 names, they were waiting. So some people said that first 28 names was more or less like 14 Christians and 14 Muslims. But there were only nine women. So how could you give, there were only 7 women. How could you just give 7 women out of 28? That is unfair. So for Food Kayode, started going soft. This is a guy who is married or was married then to an Igbo lady. They had wonderful kids, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful kids. You've seen his children, Abi, very beautiful kids. But when this election started, for Food Kayode, thrown all caution into the air. Common sense, dignity, respect, it thrown them off board. For Food Kayode went ballistic. At a point, people were asking, did he actually have something against the Igbos? Like, how could you be so self-hating that your own children, who are actually part Yoruba, partly Igbo, you don't care about them putting all these things out? Do you care if they grow up and eventually have to read all of these things? Did he care? Of course he didn't. So the saying contract changed to woman. It didn't change to woman. It is just that he got humbled, people said. And a lot of people were waiting to say maybe Kolu will consider him in the second batch. Now that Kolu has nominated 47 people, there is no for Food Kayode, there is no Frostos Utobokeyamo, there is no Ezibida or Nonuga. I don't know what they will still give them because there is more to give to them. But it seems that the more they delay, the less that is available compared to how these guys worked in spreading the rhetoric that has further divided Nigeria. And they are not stopping. I'll show you these few clips. Dele Alakori was being screened, and he was being screened to be a minister. So he was now talking about himself as a journalist, as this, as that, how they did in Lagos to tell people orientation, the mindset, blah, 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 blah. But do you know what really bothers him so much that I could really pick out of everything he said? Is that they are so scared of social media. Kilode. Why are they so scared of social media? I mean, you could tell they are so paranoid. I remember Layamo. Layamo of the blessed memory, Kolon Fonuke. When Layamo was still active before being deactivated by the powerful social media, Layamo was everywhere. But you know what really triggers them? They used to lie unchallenged. Remember, all these guys when 2015, they were celebrity on social media. Everything they said, people just they agree. Yes, it's true. Can you believe that Nigeria is losing 1 billion? Say, yeah, it's true. Do you know that $20 billion was lost? That $20 billion can build 20 universities, 20 kindergartens. Yeah, that's very true. Do you know that it is so easy to generate electricity? It's by just putting all of this, I better pass my neighbor generator. Put like 1,000 of them together and you get 1,000 megawatts. Wow, that's amazing. These are the people that should be ruling Nigeria. They were lying, making up nonsense. People were agreeing with them. Until people realized that they were so empty and they were so corrupt. That PDP was corrupt. You know what people said? I want to remember, there's a phrase we used to say then. They said, PDP came to establish corruption as a way of life in Nigeria under democratic rule, APC came to legalize it. You remember that phrase? It's a very popular phrase, so. And I bet I'm one of those who actually coined that. I kind of remember, it's been a long time. PDP came to establish corruption as a way of life. APC came to legalize it. So those things that usually kind of trigger you, get you angry. How can somebody steal 20 million naira? How can 40 million naira disappear? Omogao, 1.5 billion naira, one person will steal 1 billion. You know that time, when you used to get angry. They're supposed to kill these people. How can somebody steal 500 million naira? The money that can always today, you hear about billions and billions and billions. We are just like, and so with the Aram Jari, they're not going to do anything. Because they have come to legalize it. They are the one who can tell you what is a crime and what is not a crime. The popular, famous criminals, corrupt criminals, the moment they jumped into APC, they became the new. I mean, I actually felt sorry for some of you APC, members. Because you remember those days, when you used to wait for a time for Bukwari to be president, so that corrupt people, they can either run away or they will be in jail. You remember those times, those days, when the likes of Akume, the likes of Ojiuzo Kalu, the likes of who else? Akpabiole, the likes of who else is there again? All these corrupt people in PDP. Remember them? When you used to dream, man, I can't wait for Buhari to be president. Corrupt people will run away. All their properties, they will sell them. They will use them to fund education. They will use all the stolen property. They will use them to build roads. Remember? Until the criminals you thought would go to jail became your leaders in APC. I bet it back me. I mean, I'm just trying to remind you, Neil. When they said that those who you were expecting to go to jail, they ended up as your leaders. And suddenly you started singing, my friend, that nobody is clean. Everybody is the same. Everybody is the same. What really matters is what they can do for people. I said, alaye baje, weary. That was the moment they started carrying you handicap. Yeah, you, Lagos Abobakus, Buhari idiots. Yeah, that was when they started. The people you thought would go to jail, they became your leaders in APC. You started defending them. So Layamo came. It was like a professional. Let me tell you about legendary Layamo. Layamo was APC, Egbekegbe's spokesperson. It was their PRO. You understand what I mean? It was the one making all allegations. Laya Muhammad. Press conference, Laya Muhammad. They have written, Jonathan has written name of those they want to kill. My name is number 25. Rufai name is number 8. Keniko name is Laya Mo will do press conference. Everybody go believe him. Jonathan was like, it got to a stage, they said, Jonathan was so evil, right? That Jonathan was drinking human blood with human head. That is such a drunk that they described Jonathan as a drunk that almost half of Nigeria believed that Jonathan was a drunk. That he would drink ogogoro. If Jonathan failed to appear at any meeting, international place that he goes to, Laya Muhammad would do press conference. I say Jonathan got drunk in hotel. They were begging him to come out. He couldn't come out. That is why he didn't show up. This lie upon lie, lie upon. So they own everywhere. They were champions. So they got the power to the point that Baba Man will lie you. These guys, they intimidated the president of Nigeria out of power. Jonathan got to a stage. Jonathan was like, Shena power you want, so yeah, take him. I beg. Kilo day. they started the planting of this divisive politics, hatred, tribal this, tribal that. It was during Jonathan time they said that no Igbo man will become president of Nigeria again, that they made a mistake to give it to a Delta man. Now this guy, so he got to a stage that they stoned Jonathan. People stoned Jonathan. You see this Boko Haram terrorism, Laya Muhammad and these people, they presented that Jonathan was using it to reduce the population of northern Nigeria. There is not that the soldiers of Nigeria cannot defeat the Boko Haram. It was Jonathan that was using it to reduce the population. And their people believed it. Sitting president, they stone him in Bauchi because of these guys. There's nothing these guys didn't defend. They defended the right of Boko Haram. They said attack on Boko Haram is attack on the northern Nigeria. That the Boko Haram are people who are angered because of bad government of Jonathan. That Jonathan should rather talk to them. This Layamo and the rest, they were famous. Then they got the power. When they got the power, they realized that they have used their propaganda to set themselves a standard that they don't even match. Okay? And you can use propaganda to gain power. You cannot use propaganda to rule a country. No, you can't. And even if you want to use propaganda to rule a country, you must be doing very, very well. Like you must be doing good. Then you can add propaganda to it. But you cannot be stealing, looting, and killing people. And then still using propaganda. Blaming the people for everything that is happening, not yourself. So, they use social media to bully PDP and Jonathan. I won't forget, they used it. These young people then. We don't want PDP again. We don't. Anyway, the people turned against them in no time when they realized that they were so empty, full of lies, deceit, and blames. What did they do? They decided to burn the bridge that they actually walked on to power. The same bridge that took them to power, social media. They decided to burn it down. Because you know why? After the whole thing, politics is gone. It is now shop by shop. So they became friends. You know? It was like, but people were like expecting more. Where is the change? What is going on? What is that? So they turned to the social media. They wanted to burn it down. They said social media is evil. Social media is going to break Nigeria. There are people who are using social media to spread fake news. Guess who was spreading fake news? Boko Haram's government, Layamo and the rest. Remember, they used to lie for free, and people believed them or just ignore them. Now they are in power. They still wanted to be lying. So people are challenging them, and they called that an attempt to turn Nigerians against government. So social media want to turn Nigerians against government. Social media that they used to bully the other government out now is now considered as an opposition, and it must go. Laya Muhammad did so many campaigns, spent so much money. We defeated him. Yes, we did. They were paying people peanuts to go and defend them on social media. We defeated them. You know what defeated them? The truth. When you leave, or let me say when you get to power through propaganda, you cannot rule with propaganda successfully. Not on social media. So they decided to make laws. Laws to control social media. The Layamu and gang, at a point, they said they were looking for laws that would be like light switch, where they can turn it off and turn it on anytime. They even had to ban Twitter in Nigeria at a point. All of this, they still got defeated. So it didn't work. Towards the end of their inglorious jihadist government, you know what they said? They said people didn't promote the work of Bokwari very well. If people promoted what Bokwari did, a lot of Nigeria will know that Bokwari did well. Need 9 minutes. What did you do? That does not or did not reflect in the lives of the people, but rather made their lives even worse. That's the question. Now, another guy is now bragging. I gave you that background story because another lunatic, who is probably seeing himself as 007 for Kolu. Dele Alakori was at the Senate training, and he was telling them that he will use every fiber in him, every blood in him, to ensure that social media is regulated. And he gave his reasons. And to me, and to you, can we just tell him that he's welcome to the party? If you have any truth to share, they won't be debunked. But if you think that same way of a bullish and all of that is what you are bragging about, Esafundele Alakori, that is welcome to the party. They said that they wanted, they had a law they called the social media bill, hate speech law, and all other nonsense that they kind of tried, in gagging and controlling the speech of the people. Let me take you to their screening. Quick one.
My name remains Darlington Nwokocha. I represent the entire Nigeria, but Abia Central in particular. Mr. Nominee, I want to welcome you to the for information and strategy. And that is why we brought the issue of strategy into information management. It is not just information management per se. However, I'll come to that later. So if we are able to put in the right infrastructure, electricity, access roads, the personnel that will even service those tourism ventures. These are all important. And I'm sure I don't need to tell you that you've been all over the world to tourism sites. You've seen the courteous nature of the tourism personnel or the sites personnel. They need training. We have to bring training on board for all our tourism ventures and sites. We have to put in the infrastructure. The infrastructure is not just the roads. I also mentioned the electricity, even the structures, even those sites, the way we design the sites. There's one place in...
So, now you have mentioned the things that need to be done for tourism to work. But you have not mentioned the initiatives that you are going to bring to bear, because you are not the one that will do the infrastructure. You will propose those things to the Federal Executive Council. Please attempt to answer the question of distinguished Senator Tambua and distinguished Senator Nengi, if you noted them down, so that we can now look at your colleagues, no, not your colleagues, we can look at your senators from Ekiti, Adaramodu, and the Senate leader, so that way, yes, I noticed that if you notice the way I'm going, I would like a situation whereby we have a spread. So we have the thing I don't see that your protest is noted. Okay, so just answer the other questions from my colleagues. Distinguished Senator Nengi, distinguished Senator Tambua. Well, because if you notice, I attempted to go towards Ekiti, but most of the speeches coming from there are full of accolades instead of questions. So I'm more interested in those who have questions for him. He wants to answer questions. He wants to answer questions.
Mr. President, sir,
Exactly. So I need to start from the beginning. Yes. You're talking to him. I want to address him. I don't know which ones they asked. Their names are not there. Check the front. I don't know which one Tambu asked. I just wrote the questions. Mr. Senate President, sir, I wrote down the questions. Yes, distinguished senators, the very first question by senator from Niger State is on the national image of Nigeria, that what would we do differently if I happen to be in that ministry, and especially our foreign image and local image. Now, again, my answer is very simple. There is no foreign image that can be ever good that is not contingent on domestic policies anywhere in the world. However much we burnish our image, engaging public relations practitioners and all that, is all money down the drain. I will not recommend that for Mr. President. What I will recommend for the president of this country is to concentrate on good governance within Nigeria. And once there is good governance within Nigeria, once our domestic policies are positive and responsive and responsible, the image of Nigeria will naturally shoot up. It's a kind of interrelated. So we are not going to embark on wasting money on burnishing image, polishing our image, when the domestic situation of Nigeria is nothing home to write about. So the first thing I would recommend is that our domestic policies must be right and must be people-oriented at all times. Thank you. On the second one is the social media regulation. Yes, there is some concern, not just here, but all over the world, but particularly in our own environment, about the pernicious nature of social media or effects. The social media has two sides. There is a positive side, there is the negative side, just like every human endeavor. Now, the positive side, we all know, there's instant news. Whatever happens, you get it immediately, and then you can propagate your information widely at a very short time. And other things, you communicate faster with social media. However, the downside is so detrimental to good and decent society. What I will support is the strengthening of regulations. In my time as a journalist and as an editor for 10 years unbroken in this country, I discovered that there are laws that guide our conduct in every area of human endeavor. But the application of these laws have been short. In fact, even victims of libel cases, of aspersions, of defamation and all kinds of negative things in the media hesitate to also apply the law against the culprits. I have been on the editor's chair for several years, and the most important point to an editor is to avoid litigation. But the receiving public may not know it. But the public will not also seize the opportunity of applying the full weight of the law when there is infraction by any medium, whether social media or the newspaper or online or electronic. So I will recommend a strengthening of our regulations and application of those regulations. It is not just to enact laws, but the laws must also be tested. It is from testing.
Delay is coming to test the law of limitation. Any other thing is coming with, tell him he is welcome to the party. Okay? Because we know the most they will do, I have said it before, Tinubu is coming for the media. They will still shut down social media in Nigeria. That a lot of you will have to end up using a VPN as you did the last time. They are going to come so brutal. These are old guys who are still living on that old times. And they are fighting the change that are taking place. The monopoly of information that they used to enjoy. That monopoly of information is no longer theirs. It's living in that generation that usually will say, to be a journalist, you know what it becomes to be a journalist, only for you to become a journalist and become a corrupt one that is helping the system to further manipulate the people, right? So the likes of Dele Alake and the rest of them like that, of that generation, they are those who are living in that past. So the war is between the past and the present. And he's welcome, okay? You should tell him he's welcome. It won't take long before we tear him into pieces as well. Both himself and Kolu, that he's probably coming out to come and work for, is welcome. Say it loud and clear. Because this is no longer the time where you can say, you can cook the lies, and you'll be surprised that the truth is actually out, even before your lie could fly. We are the jet age, like he said. The information you are cooking inside the corner of your room, video, audio, pictures, documents, they make their ways out to all of us in a jiffy. We don't come into your bedrooms. A lot of us don't come to your bedrooms. We don't come into your inner rooms. We don't come into the inner walls and all that. People around you end up having to release them to the public. And what do we do with them? So you're going to have to explain a lot. Omar, explain Taya. You will explain Taya. Dele Alakori. Others were still asking him questions. Here is other part. Watch this.
My name remains Darlington Nwokocha. I represent the entire Nigeria, but Abia Central in particular. Mr. Nominee, I want to welcome you to the floor, but I want to make special reference to your resume. Page 5, item 5. Mr. President, may I read? The item 5 says that you introduced the first ever Bill of Freedom of Information in Nigeria into the Lagos House of Assembly and went as far as conducting the first ever public hearing on the bill in Nigeria in 2005. That's barely 18 years ago. But I want to make reference to a certain provision in the Constitution, which I want you to take to recognize perfectly well. You have been in the media and information and communication space for decades. You may very well be familiar with Section 22 of 1999 Constitution as amended of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to the fact that the press, the radio, television, and other agencies of the media shall at all times be free to hold government of the day to account for Nigerian people. We all witnessed how state authorities guard some media organizations in the last administration. How would the press freedom, considering that 18 years ago what you did, be guaranteed at the national space?
I actually thought you were about to give us examples of what happened in the First and Second Republic, that there were public hearings. And then you would have challenged him. But thank you for agreeing with him. Distinguished colleagues, there is the leader.
Mr. President,
contrary to expectation, my point of order is not by extension of time. I will do that in another 3 minutes. My point of order, sir, is Order 52, sub 4. And the reason it's important that I make this clear is that if I have a permission to read, sir, I would like to read. Mr. President. Order 52, sub 4. A senator must confine his observations to the subject under discussion and may not introduce matter irrelevant thereto. Mr. President, it's important that we know, and I want to say this with due respect to the minority leader. He has been wonderful as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he has contributed very immensely to ensuring that proceedings on the floor have been meaningful. However, unfortunately, he appears to have brought politics into this thing by asking the nominee standing before us to recite any of the stanzas of the national anthem, which of course is a piece of cake. But because that had not been our tradition, and we have not done this to any of the other nominees, if I did not say this, I'm applying, I'm moving that question or request be expunged, because if it is not, and we rule that he will not recite it, it will look as if we have something to hide. It is irrelevant to the extent of the provisions of Order 52, sub 4, and I so move, Mr. President.
Sorry, Okoyemi Bamidele is from Ekiti. So he was trying to say that they should not let Dele Alakori recite the national anthem. Okay, somebody said he should recite that. I think another person also asked that he called the obedient mad dogs or something like that. How are they sure that he's going to treat all Nigerians equally with respect and all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Those are part of the questions, but I call them out. But here is when Dele Alakori had more to say. Again, it's about social media and the media entirely, what they are going to do. And this time around, they spoke with passion first. And Ekiti man, who is trying to fend, kind of guide him through all of that shark-infested water. Somebody said, where are the Labour Party senators? A big question. I haven't seen them. When I do, I'll share. But take a look at this. Dele Alakori promising you what is still to come. All of you in the media, thank God, a lot of us are actually not in Nigeria. The people that are holding them in their jugula, a lot of us are not in Nigeria. So again, using the old bat eyes to look at what is today's challenges, the old hogs, the old arcs. They go meet us for a year.